This meeting is being conducted in compliance with the Open Public Meetings Act. Adequate notice of this meeting has been provided by advertisement in the Cape May Star and Wave on the Township website and posted on the bulletin boards of Township Hall.
Please stand for the Pledge of Allegiance and a moment of silence.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, roll call, please.
Councilmember Conrad.
Here.
Councilmember Perry.
Here.
Councilmember Simonson.
Here.
Deputy Mayor Clark.
Here.
Mayor Beck.
Here. Good evening, all. And as we approach our last meeting, the good deputy and myself, we have some presentations of plaques. And apparently I am presenting the plaque to Mr. Deputy Norris Clark here. And I'm going to just speak for a few moments and then ask council to come down and join me and do the old presentation as we have out front. I remember when I first met Norris, he was campaigning in the neighborhood and running for assembly. And somebody had keyed me and said, "You got to listen to this guy. He's different. He's really pretty sharp." And you know, I think he deliberately came on my street because at the time, you know, I was just finishing up in the office, and I think he wanted some support. But he came to the house, and he was sharp, very, very intelligent individual. And I knew where he was going because I had been there, and I told him, I said, "You'll come right," knowing the kind of person he was. What happened to the mics here? Did the mic kick off? Can you hear me? Knowing the kind of person you are, you're going to come out the back door of that political scene, and you are not going to go back in. And eventually he did. He became an independent like myself. You know, he's done everything that I've asked. I used to say that he was of all the people that were not in government, I thought he was the number one person that I would select if I had the opportunity to put him in government. And, you know, those of you who have attended the meetings and have sat here, you know what a marvelous speaker he is. You know his passion, and he's a bright guy. He's done everything that I've asked of him. And perhaps his best quality is his loyalty, which for me was something certainly different than I'd had. They never were able to pull him away from me. I guess they didn't have enough silver or whatever. But that being said, his loyalty was not to me. His loyalty was to the township. And there were times when we actually voted against each other, but you really wouldn't know that because I respected his decision in that instance, because we had talked about it and I knew how he felt about a certain issue or two, and it happened a couple times, and he knew how I felt. We never had an argument over it, but we did disagree, okay, on occasion. For him, if I had to put it into a synopsis, it was all about the taxpayer, making sure that they got their proverbial bang for the buck and got their money's worth. And he laid the ground roots for a lot of things that the township's going to see in the years to come. His work on the Fishing Creek School and being the hub of that wheel for a long time before passing the baton on to John Louderback is going to, you know, there'll be kids growing up in this township that will be passing through that school and getting the early childhood education and getting the help they need, that they'll never know that Norris and John Louderback were two people who made that possible. And 30, 40 years from now, if they have success in their lives, it might be simply due to the fact that they got that break early on that was developed by Norris. Okay. He's formed the Bay Shore Council in conjunction with all of the other communities that run along the bayside, to give a voice to an area of the county and of the state in reality that has been sorely lacking. In numbers, there is strength, and by joining with some of the other communities along the bay, our town will certainly see an increased sense that Trenton will pay attention to our needs. You know, it's we're not the ocean communities, you know, one of those, and it seems like in our mind's eye that a lot of the funding seems to go along the ocean side rather than to here on the bay. Norris has been at the forefront of some of the economic development that we've done. I mean, in all honesty, I think he's represented the township well. You know, I'm proud to call him a friend, and I wish him the best, and I hope he keeps his foot in the arena. He's still young enough to do whatever he wishes to do. And with that, I want to say thank you to him on behalf of not only the council, but the township residents. You've done a great job, son. Appreciate it. Come on down, we'll give him a... Nice job, well done. Well done. There's your plaque.
Are you going to read it?
Yeah, you want me to read this?
That'd be nice.
Okay, all right. Patience. We're not done here yet. Presented to Norris Clark for your dedicated service as Deputy Mayor to Lower Township 2013 to 2016. And it has all of us on there. Michael Beck, Mayor, Tom Conrad, Dave Perry, Eric Simonson, Jim Richfield, Township Manager. Well done.
Mayor, you want to stay up here for a minute?
Sure, just,
Let's stay up here.
yeah, we might as well, it's rather a duplicating effort.
I know, I'm sure I speak for everyone here and council that besides his many years of service as an elected official, we appreciate your service to our country, all right, to the citizens, obviously as a police officer, and also to students, especially in the villas at St. Raymond. So I want to say we haven't always agreed, but I believe we've had mutual respect for one another, and I would still catch up for let's say a beverage sometime, and we'll talk.
Adult beverage?
Adult beverage, all right? Congratulations.
Thank you.
And I'll read the plaque as well. The mayor gets a fancy one. All right.
It's due back at midnight.
Presented to Mayor Michael E. Beck in grateful appreciation of your dedicated service to Lower Township, Councilman from 1998 through 2006, and Mayor 2009 through 2016. And then your untiring efforts on behalf of the residents of Lower Township will not soon be forgotten. Along with Norris Clark, Deputy Mayor, Thomas Conrad, Council Ward 1, David Perry, Council Ward 2, Eric Science, Council Ward 3, and James Ridgway, our Township Manager. Congratulations, thank you.
Thank you, Eric. Appreciate it. Okay, game, set, match. Back to work. Brakes it over. Okay. Move down to the consent agenda. Does council have any questions or comments on the consent agenda? Okay. Open up for public comment on the consent agenda. Close the public portion.
Approval of minutes, December 5, 2016. Resolutions number 2016-335 through 2016-346.
Do I have a motion to approve?
I'll make a motion.
Second. Second? Anybody out there?
Last night.
Councilmember Conrad?
Yes.
Councilmember Perry?
Yes.
Councilmember Simonson?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Clark?
Yes.
Mayor Beck?
Yes.
Resolution number 2016-347, a resolution requesting reduction of performance guarantee for Cape Regional Holdings LLC, Block 629, lots 130 through 159, and Block 630, lots 168.01 through 173, escrow number Z14-09-05.
Is there any council comments on this? Open it up for public comment. Close the public portion. Do I have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Second? Second?
Councilmember Conrad?
Yes.
Councilmember Perry?
Abstain.
Councilmember Simonson?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Clark?
Yes.
Mayor Beck?
Yes.
Ordinance number 2016-07. This is an ordinance of the Township of Lower, amending Chapter 400, the Land Development Ordinance of the Township of Lower. This is the second reading and public hearing of this ordinance. This ordinance has been published, posted, and made available to the public.
Okay. Is there any council comments or questions? Open up for the public reading. Anybody wish to comment, step forward. Okay, close the public portion. Do I have a motion to approve?
Make a motion.
Second.
Councilmember Conrad?
Yes.
Councilmember Perry?
Yes.
Councilmember Simonson?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Clark?
Yes.
Mayor Beck?
Yes.
Ordinance number 2016-08, an ordinance of the Township, an ordinance transferring ownership of certain real property to the New Jersey Department of Environmental Protection. This is the second reading and public hearing of this ordinance. This ordinance has been published, posted, and made available to the public.
Okay. Any council questions or comments? Open up for public comment. Close the public portion. Do I have a motion?
I'll make the motion.
Second.
Councilmember Conrad?
Yes.
Councilmember Perry?
Yes.
Councilmember Simonson?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Clark?
Yes.
Mayor Beck?
Yes.
Ordinance number 2016-09, an ordinance amending ordinance 2016-06, the salary and benefit ordinance of the Township of Lower. This is the second reading and public hearing of this ordinance. This ordinance has been published, posted, and made available to the public.
Is there any council comments or questions? Open up the public comment or questions. Close the public portion. Do I have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve.
Second.
Councilmember Conrad?
Yes.
Councilmember Perry?
Yes.
Councilmember Simonson?
Yes.
Deputy Mayor Clark?
No.
Mayor Beck?
No. Move down to administrative reports. Any questions on that? We'll move on to council comments. Tom?
I didn't have too much, but I do want to recognize Doc Crawford. Last year, we recognized her for 39 years doing the Children's Christmas in Lower Township. She came back for her 40th year this year, and we have to give her a lot of thanks because it takes a lot of effort, and she did it. Other than that, I want to wish everyone a Merry Christmas, have a Happy New Year, and safe one, and God bless you all.
I'd just like to say what a great time I had at the Lower Township Christmas Parade this year. I have to thank Matt Caesar for devoting his time to come out and be a part of the parade. A lot of happy young faces on the
sides of the street as the parade went through, with him giving autographed baseballs out to the young ones. It was really nice. And to all the people of Lower Township, I'd like to wish everybody a safe, happy, and healthy Christmas and New Year. That's it.
Yes, I also want to thank Matt Caesar. It was a nice it was nice to have a hometown hero as our parade marshal and giving out things that the children will cherish for a long time. Also, if you want to get in the holiday spirit, the last of the concerts, I know I've been to the middle school and elementary school concerts were excellent, as they usually are, but especially this year. And the high schools is this Thursday at the PAC Center at the high school. But for those of you that can't make it out, there is a new feature that the school has. That, if you go on YouTube under LCMR Theater, they have all the concerts on YouTube. They were streamed live, and now there's actually copies of them on YouTube that you can pull up and check out. And like I said, they were all great. Other than that, have a very safe and Merry Christmas, Happy Hanukkah, and have a great New Year. Thank you.
Well, I'd like to say goodbye, but before I do that, I'd like to say a few words. I was always interested in politics. I actually taught American government at the local community college back in the 80s. My first student was a woman named Rita Fulgenetti, and she told me that her mission in life was to become the county clerk. And so I had the privilege of teaching out of a book, American Government. Now, I really realize now, looking back on that I really didn't have a clue. But I was teaching it anyway. I knew what the book said, but I didn't really have any experience. And I'm proud of the fact that Rita has turned out to be a pretty great county clerk, and she's learned a lot more about American government than I have. So the student outdid the teacher. We actually took her on a field trip down to Washington to see the Congress, and that was my first involvement with politics. My hero was Ronald Reagan, because he was, to me, like Lincoln, proof that good people could be successful in politics. And he always put the country first. You may not agree with everything he said or did, but you knew that he cared. You knew that he put the country first, and you knew he was genuine about what he believed. And when he passed, I was in the line for 3 hours to pass by his casket in Washington, D.C. I went all the way out to California to his library, and I got one of his ties. This is a Reagan tie with the American flag on it. And I got it at the library in California, and I'm wearing it tonight. So he was kind of one of the role models. And as Mike said, it was, it was really meeting Mike that led me into politics. He recruited me, so to speak. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for Mike. He said, you need to consider serving the township. The first thing he did was invite me to coffee and ask me to meet him at a Fishing Creek school. And before I knew it, we were restoring an old schoolhouse. But Mike is designed by God to be a great mayor. And the reason I say that is because he spent all that time in the police force, and then he spent almost as much time in a classroom. And as I went around the township with Mike and got to know folks, I knew there was a line of people outside of his door that blessed the day he walked into a classroom. And, there's different ways of persuading people to do things in politics. One way is to use force. That's what that's the last resort, right? But the best quality of a mayor is to use education and to convince people that this is the right way to go and not have to use force. We hope we never have to resort to that kind of thing, but those two experiences that Mike had, teacher and then also as a police officer, I think really brought him together as a great mayor. But the quality is that, when I asked him, why did you get involved in politics? He said, I saw something that was wrong, and I wanted to put it right. And I just
that was the day that I decided I was going to run. He saw something down the street that just wasn't right, and he started going door to door and said, we need to do something about this. And I imagine all the years he's been in politics, and every single one of those years, every single one of those sessions that I've been with him, every single time I've ever met with him, the beginning of the conversation is that we got to do what's right for the township, period. So the reason he gets so much respect is because Councilman Simonson said, and others, we may not have agreed every time, but we had respect. And we respected this guy because we knew, I think he was kind of like to me, he's like the George Washington of Lower Township. And the reason I say that is because George Washington would probably rather be in his garden than being president. And he couldn't wait to get back to Mount Vernon. Mike can't wait to get back to his garden and to a good football game. But he had a sense of service, and that's why he got involved. He also, like George Washington, if you ask him what his greatest accomplishment is, he will tell you it's fighting for the people. He's always saying, what will this mean for the people in the neighborhood? That's the benchmark for everything. What will this mean for the people in the neighborhood? And he realizes sometimes you have to fight for them because they can't fight for themselves. And this comes out of a deep commitment to the township, but also a deep commitment to his faith, that it was a sacred obligation to fight for the people that couldn't fight for themselves in every situation. And that's what animated everything that he did. And also, like George Washington, he ran 2 terms, and they begged him to run again. He said, please, the country's not going to work. He said, no, we need to teach the politicians of the next generation how to say goodbye. We need to teach them how to say goodbye. And we got to know when it's time to step aside. And that's what Mike's doing now. He said, it's time to say goodbye. I've done what I set out to do. So I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for Mike setting the vision. I wouldn't be here if it wasn't for Mike's reputation getting us elected. And I look back at the brochure, the palm card that we handed out to everybody back 5 years ago now. We said we were going to do 5 things. And I went back and read it, and I'm pleased to tell you that what we said we were going to do, we did. We said we were going to help education. And I am so proud of the fact that Fishing Creek School, get this, it is one of 2 one-room schoolhouses in this state, only 2 that have been restored and are still holding classes for kids. That Fishing Creek School, the lights are on, the teachers are in there, and kids, 3-year-olds, are getting an education, preparing them for school. The historians told me there's only one other in the whole state where you can say that. We feel good about the fact that we really shined a light on not only the early childhood education, but what happens to kids as they're coming in, but also what's happening to our kids as they're leaving high school. What can we do to get private people to get more connected to the school and mentor kids as they're coming into the workplace? And I'm proud of the fact that we got some programs going that saw some great apprentice programs, mentoring programs that meant a lot to the high school. We also said we were going to do something about economic development, and we did that. We started focusing on Lower Township, and as a result of the efforts of our township, the entire first district of our state, there's only 40 districts. Senator Van Drew represents the first district. He was inspired by our economic development activities to extend that to the whole district that we had. And that's something that's still going on and still benefiting the community. We said we were going to work on public safety. One of the things we talked about was focusing on the public safety building, but also about drugs. And I think those of you who've been with us over the last 4 years know that one of the mayor's deepest passions is to help the kids that are struggling with drugs, that are surrounded by this, that don't have the wherewithal, don't have the the support that they need to be able to say no and to fill the void of their lives, instead of with drugs, with something far more valuable and better. And that's what I heard him talking more about than anything else in this township. What can we do? And he, I'm sure, is going to feel like he didn't do enough, and he wished he could have done more. We also said we wanted to save the taxpayers' money. And that was something that we thought about all the time. We set ideas forward, some that we took, some that we didn't. But that was certainly something we tried to do. We said that we were going to, the last thing was we were going to be open and transparent about everything we did in government. I remember the first thing we did as council, at first we got elected, and once you get over that surprise, then you come in, and the first decision was they wanted to hire the insurance folks, right? Remember? We needed to hire an insurance company to provide insurance for the township. And then there was the team that had been serving us for years. And then there was another team that wanted to be considered. And a lot of times in politics, you just go with the team that, you know, you've been going with for the long time because they're your friends. And it's hard to set up, okay, you know, we're going to have an open session. We're going to ask everybody that's selling this insurance to come in and give us an offer and find out who's going to give us the best deal. And he said, Norris, before we make a decision, put one of those meetings together, get everybody in there. And it turned out we found a new team that convinced our folks that to give us better service and at a better price. And that's the team we hired. They're still with us today. Hope they're doing a good job, right? So the second thing was, and I'll never forget this, the time came that we had to select the labor attorney. And I'm saying these because I really think that they're worthwhile examples to remember as we're going forward. It's the idea of putting people over the politics, putting the people first, regardless of how the politics are. And the thing that happened to us was we had to decide about the labor attorney. And the labor attorney, Bill Blaney, was the partner of the chairman of the party that had just, you know, challenged us and beat us up pretty bad in the election. And Mike said, I think we should get Bill Blaney. I said, but he's the partner of the wrong political side. He said, that doesn't matter. He said, we got to do it because he's the best guy for the labor attorney. And I'll tell you, some of our good friends that support us, Jack Sparks, called me up and chewed me out. How stupid can you be? You're hiring the people that are, you know, not politically right. And Mayor said, I don't care. He's the best labor attorney. And that's why we got Bill Blaney. It's not about the politics. I'll never forget that. I'll never forget Jack chewing me out, saying, "What, you know, that's pretty stupid politically." So I think three things I've learned through all this. Not only just about a little bit about trying to put people over politics, but there's a huge responsibility. I'm sure you fellas all know it. Let me tell you a dirty little secret. Very few people read every piece of paper that comes across this desk. I didn't do it. I should have, but I just didn't have the time. And it's very difficult, especially for a mayor. And the only reason I could relax knowing that I didn't read every paper is because I knew this guy had read every single paper and looked at every word and then compared it to the notes of 6 years ago and said, what's the right thing to do here? And there have been times where a lot of people missed something and he found it, called it out, saved us a lot of trouble down the line because he looked at it and found it. And he's got boxes of every paper from the last 16 years, and Lord knows how he finds it, but he files it away and pulls it out just at the right time. And for those that are serving government, it's a big challenge to read every single thing, and I know you know that. And God bless this man for reading every single piece of paper that came through the desk.
I had 16 boxes. They're over at the landfill now. I don't know what to say to that. I appreciate everything you said. I want to keep it brief because it's one of those deals you either keep it short or you talk for an hour, and there's football on tonight. And I'm looking for a part-time job watching football. If you know anybody who's hiring, I've got a great resume, and I'll work for Snacks if you have that open. I want to start out by thanking the Lord above. It might not be popular to bring the Lord into government, but I always tried. And
Amen.
It's a driving force. I pray for the town before I come down here to meetings. Sometimes I prayed for my own safety, but I actually make sure that the Lord was a part of whatever we did, and I am eternally grateful to Him. I have this belief that at the end of time, He's going to say to me, you don't think that you put yourself there. I put you there. Now, how did you help those people? And I have to answer that. I won't answer by saying I got a job or something like that. I'll answer by saying that I did my best. Sometimes it's not a question of fighting for a town. Sometimes it's a question of taking a punch for the town. And I've taken a few punches up here. But I always thought that that was part of my job also, is that if by being lit up on occasion, I highlighted what I thought was going on here, then that's okay, because that's also a service to the people. But, I don't want to go into that too much. I mean, that's just the way it was. That's personal philosophy. I want to thank council. I wish them the best, and I wish them success, because it is our town. At the end of the day, I hope that every decision you make is for these people, and I'm sure you will. But I hope you're successful. I want to thank the people that I've worked with, and they've been fantastic. And I know there's times that they want to choke me, but at the same time, I think that, just like Eric said and stuff like that, they may not agree with me. And I am not always right, but I can guarantee you one thing: I always try to be right. All right? It's not a question that, it turns out exactly that way, that you want it to, but anything that I've done up here has been with the best of intentions. But I want to thank the workforce and appreciate their patience at times and stuff like that, and wish them all the best down here. But most of all, the source of all of our power is the people we serve and the people in the neighborhood. And, I've seen changes in my years. I mean, although I have 16 years in government, I took 2 off, and I did 2 terms. I do believe in term limits. I did 2 terms as councilman, left voluntarily, came back for mayor, done 2 terms, time to go. But, I've seen the whole change. And if there's one thing that, you want to sit back and say, well, what is it that scares me? It's the indifference sometimes. We used to have, and I was going through some of my records, and I saw budget hearings from perhaps 10 years ago, where there were over 100 people in this room for a budget hearing. That's hard to imagine. And we just don't get the people down here. And it is their government. It is absolutely not my government. I want people to come down here. And I'm not sure I know how to fight that at times. It seems to be, and it's not geographical, it's not something that's specific to our town. It's generational. People just don't seem to pay attention to government. I mean, there's people here tonight, what do we have, maybe about 15 people? But there's probably about 7 or 8 of them that are here because it's my last meeting. And it seems to dwindle. And there was a time, and especially with the crowd that really cared about government, well, they were the WW2 crowd to me. They're up the Veteran Cemetery now. And they would pack this place at the drop of a hat, and you better have your game on. When I first came on in '98, if there was something that was a hot button issue, you would know, you'd pull up and the parking lot would be packed. These guys would be down there and they'd watch everything you would do. And that was good. That was good. Because government can't be left by itself. It needs participation. I congratulate Eric on winning, but at the same time, it scares me that we have people running for mayor that are unopposed. It's not meant to be that way. It shouldn't be that way. And it's a shame that it is that way. I can remember the first time I ran, I was actually glad to see a Democrat and a Republican that I faced off, because I thought that I'm a purist when it comes to that. That's the way it's supposed to be. You know, win, lose, or draw, you have to give people choices. So at the end of the road, I want to say thank you to the residents and wish them the best. Obviously, I think they're the greatest people that walk the face of the earth, and I know Norris does. And we sincerely tried. We did everything we could to try and make their lives a little bit better. And I think that sometimes it was more of an atmosphere than it was something that was concrete. They knew there were people down here that they're fighting for them. So again, like I said, thank you to them. With that, I'll end my short one and open it up for a call to the public if anybody wishes. John?
Any announcements, Mike?
Pardon me?
Announcements?
Oh, yeah, there's one announcement. The reorganization council meeting has been scheduled for Wednesday, January 4th, 2017 at 6 p.m. for the press, Wednesday the 4th. Yes, sir.
John Skronsky, 607 Arctic Avenue. As a regular attendee to our township council meetings, and as a resident of this township for many years, I'm very grateful for what Mayor Beck has been able to achieve for our township. It has not been an easy road. He faced many obstacles along the way, and I felt he did the best that could be done. It was not easy. I was sad for the township that he could not get done what he hoped for, like moving the police department to the villas and having the township bring the MUA under township management, saving us $1 million. Opposition from this Republican council prevented this. I am grateful that he was able to make township information public because in the past, this was not done. He was dedicated to his duties as council member and mayor, and I wish him the best. Stay the way you are, Mayor, and I am very proud of you. I will miss your independent input at future council meetings.
Thank you. I appreciate your saying
Thank you.
that.
And also, I would like to thank Deputy Mayor Norris Clark
Yeah,
for his service and his dedication.
thank you.
And Merry Christmas and Happy New Year.
Thank you. I appreciate
everybody.
that. God bless. Does anybody else wish to address council? Yes, sir.
Good evening. I'm honored to be here. And yes, you're right. I am here to let you know how much I respect you. A lot of people don't know how far you and I go back, Mike.
Yeah, we go back.
In
So we just live in this-
1992, I guess it was, when you started, you had your home you were working on and another home, and you were a Philadelphia retiree from the police department.
We come from the same street.
We did, in the same high school.
Yep.
And bottom line was, you were a real, true Republican. And you worked so hard for the party. And I'll never forget you coming to me and saying, I just want to make sure that we have the best we can for the people. And that happened, and it was a great, great time for me because I was a rebel. You remember that, was when I was running.
Well, actually, I didn't come in until after 96. I didn't move down here in 95.
Okay, well, yes, well, I met you before that because...
No, I did not. I never.
thought you did, but
I met you
anyway-
with, I remember when I met you, but that's neither here nor
That's
there.
not it, but I'll say one thing. You did what you had to do as well as I did what I had to do. And in so doing, you were very successful every time you ran. And I haven't missed too many of your meetings. And I could say sincerely, what you said tonight about yourself, for the most part, is true. You do what you do not for yourself, but for everyone else, and you hope that God is the one who's directing and guiding you. We've had many disputes, but that's what it's all about. If I don't like it, or you don't like it. And again, we've always been respectful and considerate of each other to this day, am I correct?
Yep.
And I remember how you were active with the VFW DAV, and I'm active there as well. And I found out people like you and I and others around here, we don't ever really retire. We may lead this, but we're always into something else. And one of the biggest concerns that I know you and I had major discussion, including the deputy, had to do with the MUA. And in my opinion, the greatest move that the people, the taxpayers made, was to keep it there, because there was no $1 million, because the fact of the matter is, we're doing fine. And thank God
Well-
it worked out for all of them getting water and all now.
I guess if you say it often enough, some people might believe that that's true,
Oh, it is.
but the auditor, the professionals say that there was $1 million that could
I'm
be
sure
saved.
he did. Well,
They did.
I
They
never
sat
heard
here
of a
and said-
huckster selling bad fruit and vegetables either.
They're not hucksters, they're professionals.
Okay.
State licensed
I have a
professionals.
gift for you.
Go ahead,
I want to give you a gift.
please.
Okay. I saved this for you.
Thank you.
Okay. I just want to come up with a privilege. May I?
It's fine by me, too.
Is it edible?
Oh, no.
Oh, sugar.
No, if it was you.
They are, though.
Anyway. Let's you take and you keep. That was the beginning of your,
Oh, yeah, I still have some of your brochures.
so I still had yours, but I wanted you to have that.
Thank you.
Put it on your refrigerator.
I will. I'll call you. Is that still your number?
Yes. See you later.
Thank you. Does anybody else wish to address council? This gentleman here, I should ask the same joke. How do you keep a geek in suspense?
Oh, it's been too long.
Okay, that's the answer. I'll tell you after the meeting. I taught this guy in school.
Luke Geegan, North Cape May. I want to say thank you to the mayor and deputy mayor. One thing you said was you tried, and you did more than that. You succeeded. Not with everything, but you accomplished a lot. I'm just 21, but that's what I've seen. Councilman Simonson, as I'm sure you know, or Mayor-elect Simonson, rather, you do have big shoes to fill, as does Mr. Sipple when he fills your seat, Mr. Clark.
I was going to give him my shirts to save the taxpayer money, but it turns out they put my name on every one of the shirts. So he's going to have to get his own shirts. Sorry.
You mentioned you taught me, and he did teach me.
You're in school now, right?
Yes.
Where you at, Delaware?
Wesley College.
Okay.
Delaware. You taught me more than you'll ever realize.
I appreciate your saying that.
And, I mean, you probably taught this township a lot, too.
Yeah.
And I would say a substantial amount of the residents here will miss you.
Well, I'll be around somewhere.
And, you know, everyone has different opinions and views, but I'm pretty sure that's going to be the truth.
Thank you.
I want to, I guess, before I end, you know, maybe we could, after the meeting, play a game of knockout at the Rec Center.
Basketball.
But,
Well, do me a favor and finish up in school, because you're a political science major, and then come back and get active in the township, because we need young people down here. We need the people like you that are majoring in that and have that desire to go out and help in the community to fulfill that dream and come back here and get involved with our town.
thank you
It would be
for
nice to see you here.
my opportunity to serve on the Recreation Board.
Yes, you did.
And while he's not here, Councilman Douglas appointed me.
Right.
But I appreciated that opportunity.
Right.
And so I want to end with a beatitude. Blessed are the poor in spirit, for theirs is the kingdom of heaven.
Thank you.
So thank you.
I was hoping
very,
it was the meek one, but no, I
very
guess
much.
that's not.
Well, that one was
It was on the tip of your tongue.
yeah.
Well,
It was
you don't have
two
to
out of
succeed, you
80.
have to have faith.
Thank you.
Good luck, Lou. And those of us who've been teachers understand how rewarding it is that you occasionally see one of your students who's on the very right path. So I'm very proud of you. Does anybody else wish to address council? Okay, go in peace.
Amen.
Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
Aye. Good luck, guys.
Refresh.